Hey guys, Thomas the Silly Genie here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Chupa. If you end up enjoying this full movie review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second and third to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly. And fourth to my Discord server, where you can join, collab, and chill with other content creators. And chilling will be reminded at the end of the review. With all that out of the way, let's get into Chupa. So, I saw the trailer for this, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, so I guess decent enough promoting. Though, yeah, the premise was a bit simplistic even from the trailer. It was very obvious that this is going to go down the route of the sort of mysterious creature that's going to get hunted down, and the family in question are going to be the ones to try to keep it a secret. So with that out of the way, let's get into it and review it as objectively as possible. So the movie starts out in Mexico, 1996. And we begin our movie following these 4 researcher generic people as they're getting closer and closer to finding Chupacabra, which is the full name of the creature. And we meet our main antagonist first, named Quinn, who is looking for this creature, and seems, at least initially, based on his first interaction, keen on getting the creature for more beneficial reasons for humans. Though later on in that same field, I highly question his motives based on his actions and dialogue, and even acting, unfortunately, and we'll get to all that a little bit later. Anyways, he finds a feather, so he knows that there's some sort of clue or hint. And begins to chase the little Chupa. I'll just use the short name here. But the parent that we see pulls it away. I'm not sure if it's a male or female, so I'll just refer to it as an it for now, for the time being. So it, I know, I'm using pronouns, crazy. So it ends up being carried away, and Quinn shoots the parent with a flare gun. So that's already a bit of a question mark as to if he's trying to keep it as unharmed as possible. You would think that he'd probably go for something a little less, I don't know, damaging, like, I don't know, a net or something. But yeah, he uses a flare, so there's already your first red flag that he's like, that I'm already like, your motives and your words don't seem to match at all already. Anyway, so as this creature is getting further and further, we end up seeing it get hit by another car while fleeing, and the parent separates itself from the little Chupa as the Chupa howls into the night. And then we cut to the news, as the news updates us on the rumors that are now building about the Chupacabra. Remember, this is in 1996. This is back in the day when I was a kid too. I was a 1990s kid. So anyways, we cut to Kansas City, where we meet Alejandro, or as he's sometimes called, Alex, and it is more, you know, sometimes they just refer to him as that instead. So I'll just call him Alex, just for short. And he's the loner kid that's alone at school. We see all these other kids in groups in their little packs, or whatever you would want to call them, I guess. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is to how school used to work. If like speaking another language was like seen as you were seen as the outcast even back then. Like there's definitely two types. You're either gonna get that result or you're gonna get the complete inverse of that, where it's like it's very exotic. So you're either gonna get the extremes of the outcome rather than sort of an from what I've seen, at least in media over the years, because sometimes it's seen as something rather exotic when you can speak another language that's very foreign to the place you grew up in. Anywho, so the mom, so he goes back home where the mom wants him to go on this week-long trip that this dad that is now passed on had been working towards, and based on events, they seem to suggest that he died to some sickness. And then we cut to him meeting his grandpa at the airport in Mexico, and then meeting his two cousins, Mimo, who only speaks Spanish, and from what you can tell, loves TMNT, that being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is probably, that fits fairly well. Obviously, TMNT dates a little bit before that, but, it has very clearly carried on through the generations. Anyway, we see various portraits of wrestling gear, and then also meet his older cousin, Luna, who, her whole character is she sings and plays guitar and is a little bit, I guess the most adult of the three, I guess is her whole deal. Anyway, they watch, the grandpa in the old days used to wrestle, being a luchador. But then they find a dead goat, and the rumors of the chupacabra begin to expand even further. We then cut back to see what Quinn's been up to. We see that a helicopter has arrived, and that the higher-ups that hired him on are giving him also a week, ironic, I suppose, coincidentally, to get quote-unquote results. Meaning they just want the chupacabra in full, or its blood, rather. Because apparently, the chupacabra has apparently these healing properties that we see a few times in the movie. It only seems to heal physical wounds, though, from what we are shown, so that's the rules I'm gonna go by. And the reason I mention this is that the grandpa is dealing with a sort of old-timers of sorts. And we see him place the music box and head to a certain location in the farmhouse. But when Alex thinks he sees the chupacabra, which he does initially, the family is gathered up, and a bunny comes out instead. So we get a little fake out. Buddy wakes up the next morning and sees it, and it flutters out the window. But he claims when Mimo asks what's going on, he claims that it was just a nightmare. And he even notes that his own hand heals up. So it seems to track that this whole healing ability is confirmed by the movie itself. These chupacabras have the ability to heal, meaning at least the antagonist has some reason to legitimately, especially at the time, want to capture this, and for good reason. Having the capability to heal people back then probably would have been a lot more great. We obviously have better equipment to handle injuries in, modern day, obviously. I mean, it still probably would be impressive, even today, by today's standards. You can probably even consider this still, by today's logic, magic, if you will. It's funny how magic works a lot of the times, is that when science catches up, it just becomes science, and then magic, what it remains of magic, is the things that have yet to be obtained. So that seems to be the typical way that works anyway. So Luna talks about fireworks, and then when he has his guard down, they talk about his dad. This conversation about his past dad comes up quite a few times here in the movie. And she says to live a little. I mean, yeah. But then Mimo tells them that the grandpa is missing, so they head out into the marketplace to go look for him. Because apparently he goes out for walks and just sort of gets himself lost. But meanwhile, Quinn finds himself a driver's plate. And our trio is heading into the market, as I said. And one man claims that the Chupacabra isn't as bad as the rumors have been saying. And as they head back, they sing in the car for a bit, and then we see that the grandpa has bought a baby goat for some reason. Meanwhile, the police are mocking Quinn for his thinking that the Chupa is real. Meanwhile, Luna says that their grandpa is getting worse. His conditioning is worsening. And of course, back then, there was virtually nothing you can do. Apparently, there have been a few breakthroughs in Alzheimer's, but that's still something I think that's being worked on right now, currently, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so apologies if I'm not caught up with all that stuff. But anyway, so they head back, and once Alex is alone in the little barn, he plays a song, and the Chupa comes towards him. So he goes to the fridge to go potentially to get some food. He brings it over. The creature Chupa refuses to eat it. As the kid pretends to fake eat like a rat that the little Chupa offers him. And then he cuddles with the little Chupa, because the movie needs to be cute, because the little creature is cute. However, both Mimo and Luna both join him and see the creature as well. And the grandpa already knew it existed before the trio did. And that happened because he was the one that was in the car, that was the one that got hit, that we saw in the beginning. Whoa, how convenient. Anyway, a car comes by and it's Quinn with some leading questions, because he's now got their plate, he's gotten the information from the police, so now he's over here. And the grandpa threatens him eventually with a suplex. So, yeah. After he leaves, Alex plays a little song for the creature again to get him to come out. But, after that, Mimo brings him to the roof to try to attempt to learn how to fly. It falls the first time. And only the one time. It doesn't even have a montage. Come on. Come on, movie. Not even a montage of him falling a few times? You gotta work a little bit harder than that. Just one time, and then the next time you see him, he's gonna fly. Anyway. I guess spoiler alert. So we learn from the grandpa that the father used to be a luchador himself and gave up that life when he met his Alex's mom. The grandpa then takes his game system, which we see him retreat to every time his dad is brought up. So he's using it as sort of a mechanism to deal with grief. And only will give it back in a fight. So during the fight, the grandpa wins, but after being frustrated, Alex pushes him and he gets injured, and the grandpa gets injured. However, we then see that Chupa has been howling for quite a bit, and then we cut to the kids running over and seeing Quinn shooting the Chupa with a sedative shot. Then Alex tells the grandpa, who's been, dealing with Alzheimer's, is that this is your old nemesis, and he still has those memories still implanted in him, and that Quinn is his nemesis from way back when. So the grandpa does a drop kick, and after that, the family flees with Chupa in tow, and Quinn gets his reinforcements, and they give chase. And Chupa's the furthest along in the truck currently. Or, like, the furthest along in general. Because they're on foot now, not on the truck, sorry. Anyway, Quinn reclaims his truck because the family had it for a while traveling. But Quinn, with his binoculars, spots them at a distance, the family running towards Chupa, and Chupa, well, he doesn't see Chupa, but he sees the family running anyway. We then see Chupa howling across this chasm, with the only thing leading across it is this small pipe that's, like, very beaten up. So you can clearly hear the other one from across the way. So we see Chupa initially cross over, and you think it's over, but no! A cheetah comes into the mix completely out of nowhere. Okay. So, Alex is still there, and the cheetah's like, that looks tasty. So, Alex ends up on the bridge. And so too does the cheetah. But the grandpa scares it off by using an intimidating presence. However, Alex is trying to get back, but then begins to dangle from the pipes. And then is dropped from said pipes. But we see that the creature, before he falls, the Chupa returns, hearing the cries of little Alex there, and heads over to try to rescue. So they both end up falling, for a bit anyway, and then Chupa ends up being as small as he is, being able to carry himself and the kid, and be able to fly all the way back up, because the chasm's large. So, you know, impossible task, I guess. So, yeah. We see that Quinn returns, and in the most abrupt breaking of character, he, he tranks the Chupa again, which is fine, but then he uses a taser to threaten the family. Remember, this is a guy that was like, this is for other humans, this is for the betterment of them, but he's, like, threatening other people now, of, like, with a taser. It's like, what are you doing? So he's, like, trying to run. However, the parent returns, as he's trying to drive away, and in fact, 2 more chupacabras, large ones, not sure if they're with another one is one of the other parents, and one of the other ones is a rando that's just there all of a sudden. I don't know. But point being is that now there are 3 of them, along with Chupa, so there's 4 in total. And the again, Quinn threatens the Chupa with the prod. So yeah, his whole thing just went up in smoke within that a few last moments of like, oh, okay, so he's kind of just bullshit then. Anyway, he doesn't catch from unawares from behind as the grandpa grapples him and does a suplex. I put that in quotes because I'm pretty sure that's not what a suplex is, or it's a type of suplex that specific name that I'm not too familiar with, because the move itself in its look doesn't look quite like a normal suplex anyway. Point being is that he is knocked prone long enough for the family to say his goodbyes, Alex mainly being with Chupa, and the family flies off with Chupa in tow. And Alex claims that he too is not even that sad because he too found his family as well. And thus we cut back to the plane where he gives up his game device to the grandpa. And during his plane trip back, he sees little Chupa giving him a final farewell, and that was Chupa. I guess in the long haul, this movie is just mainly by the numbers, I guess, is the best way of putting it. Pretty typical, if you've seen this type of movie archetype before. This movie has pretty much all the beats that you would expect of this type of movie archetype. And yeah, again, how quickly they destroy Quinn's character is quite impressive, I suppose, so there's that, in terms of writing and acting and all that stuff, because he goes a little ham in his acting as well near the end. But other than that slip-up, I guess, is pretty inoffensive, pretty just look at the cute little creature doing cute little creature things and act and behave primarily like a creature, except its level of intelligence seems a little bit higher than most average animals, as again it's able to return back to the kid when he's falling and actually somehow carry capacity him back up to safety, which again is the most questionable part of the movie. Yeah. What I thought was going to happen initially is I thought I thought the Chupa was going to grab him sooner, but not be able to carry him, and then the parent was going to swoop in from beneath, and then we would see the Chupa, like, guide them both back up, like the big one. I thought that's what was going to happen, because that would fit, I guess, a little bit better in terms of, like, believability in general, because it's like, I'm pretty sure that little baby wouldn't be able to carry an entire person, even a kid at that. But yeah, other than those two things, I think this is, again, pretty harmless, but I would still give it like a 6 out of 10 for those two little hiccups. So yeah, pretty good, I guess. But yeah, that's my full review of Chupa. If you ended up enjoying it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second and third to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly. And fourth to my Discord server, where you can collab and chill and do all that cool stuff. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.